Welcome to another exciting episode of Staying Up with Pat and Jodi. We are here in the palatial Sight and Sound Events penthouse studios overlooking the beautiful and the gorgeous Las Vegas Strip. I'm here, with my wife and co-host Jodi, and we are here with a representative of Las Vegas.
And it's not the mayor. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
It's not Mayor Goodman, either
one. Either Mayor Goodman, either one of them.
Our guest is better than the mayor because our guest is the king.
It is Vegas.
And
he is Vegas.
It is Vegas, and we thought, show number 2, what can we do to really rock show number 2? And you know what, folks? I went for the big guns. I've done a lot of parties with a lot of people. I've worked with many celebrities, but I've never, ever worked with a legend before until I met the one, the only, the king.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes. What's a radio show in Las Vegas without Elvis? So here we are. We have Jeff, and I'm going to pronounce it right, Stanulis.
Woo. That was pretty good. Thank you very much.
Because I always call him Jeff or Elvis, so I never actually call him Jeff Stanulis, but he is a top Elvis Presley impersonator in Las Vegas, and he is amazing. I met Jeff, God, how many years, Jeff, has it been?
I was trying to think about that, and it probably was in the early 2000s. We met at I think the folks that hired Sight and Sound, and then they hired me separately, and then we kind of came together.
Do you remember the location? Because I remember where we were.
It was in Henderson, or even Green Valley.
Yes.
Green Valley Ranch.
This is great.
It
was a country club, and it was the Anthem Country Club.
That's right. Yeah.
And I saw him, and I said, oh, my God, this guy is really awesome. He did something called these Elvis vows with, newlywed couples. And it was great. It was the best thing I ever said. And I said, came home and I said, Pat, we got to use this guy. He's the best. He not only sings phenomenally, but the people just love this Elvis vow thing I never saw before.
Well, thank you so much. But not only that, and I also had the fine experience of working with one of the best DJs here in Las Vegas because, as you know, we worked together, and I learned very early in life that you're only as good as the sound person makes you.
Thank you.
With your attitude of CEO of fun and your stigma, obviously you knew that the level had to be just perfect, especially for the entrance music. And I was just overwhelmed and pleased. And
thank you, Jeff. It's awesome. Well, this is, sorry, Pat, you're in the middle of this, thing.
The love fest. Yeah, I
know.
I'm just, I feel left out here. I feel.
Well, in all honesty,
I'm not a part of this.
In all honesty, Jeff, a lot of what I learned, we owe to Pat because he got me started in that part of my business. So, absolutely.
I didn't teach her personality. That was her. Everything else was me.
That's right.
And so I have to take a little bit of credit there.
Down the road, I had the ultimate pleasure of meeting Pat because I heard so much about him over the course of and Pat this and Pat that and Pat this and
it all started with that son of a bitch, right?
Okay.
Well, welcome to show number 2, everybody.
Well,
if you think it gets any better than this, good luck.
So of course, we're going to have Jeff, otherwise known as Elvis. He's going to be hanging out with us for the entire hour. And we're going to be asking him some trivia questions later on.
And we're going to ask him questions about, because I know everybody's fascinated, and we're going to save this a little bit later on, Jeff, but, being an Elvis impersonator, why? All that kind of fun stuff and some of the encounters, I can only imagine. And I do. I know because you and I've met you in elevators and down hallways at hotels. I try to sneak you into banquet rooms. I'm kind of like your security guard sometimes. And I see people's reaction and what you wear when you walk into an event. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But we want to get to some other stuff.
Yes.
And one of the things, Pat, that I want to tell you is that I feel good. I feel good. Jeff, I feel good. Ask me why I feel good.
Why do you feel good, Jodi?
I feel good because, yes, I unfriended yet another person.
Yes.
From my Facebook page.
Yes.
I know it took a lot, but you had to make the move.
I had to make the move. This person is so not a friend. It's just trash. Why is trash on my... And it's not like this person gave me a bad review or, you suck or anything. It's just person is just... Why?
And it's almost a double feeling. You feel free, but at the same time, you feel a little bad.
Right.
But as each day goes on, you're like, I did the right thing.
Honestly, I don't
did
think
the right
I
thing.
don't think she felt very bad at all. I
No.
gotta be honest with you. I don't think a little bad, a tiniest bit bad. I think it was all pleasure.
It was all
It was all enjoyment. Yeah.
Well, last week we talked about this, and we talked about like the Facebook friends that you have on your personal page. Are they really, really, truly your friends? Would you really want them to know that you're, eating at Joe Stone Crab, or you're going to WrestleMania, or I went to the gym today? Are those kind of people that you really want to be your friends?
And I have one of the issues with that, the whole social media thing, is because a lot of folks do this, but they don't get the full concept that the whole world is listening. So it's not like you run into somebody at a bar or at a casino or wherever, and you have a little conversation and such, but all of a sudden you don't realize, like you said, people will post this, post that, and do you really want them to know this? Do you really want them to know that? And then all of a sudden the whole world is listening, and it's just, I don't know. I just don't understand it.
It's very strange. I mean, we came up with an example, Pat, what we talked about last week about having 2 pages.
Yeah, well, I think you really do have to have a personal page and a business page. You need the ones where, your business colleagues, they don't want to know what you ate for lunch. They don't want you taking pictures of your meal at Texas de Brazil.
Or do you really want them to know that you spent the weekend on Catalina Island and,
it must be nice. You get a lot of that.
He just hit the nail on the head.
Your favorite term.
This
must be
drives
nice.
me crazy. Claudio is engineering again. Yay, Claudio, behind the system. Claudio, you want to know what really gets me mad? You know what really gets me mad? This totally gets me mad. And I hope I'm not the only person, but Jeff,
what really gets you mad?
Oh, this gets me mad. When people say to me this phrase, "It must be nice. It must be nice." When I'm like, working a double wedding, or if Pat and I go out to eat at, Chili's or Applebee's, or we go to California, it must be nice. Drive a Mercedes. Oh, it must be nice. Really? It must be nice? Why don't you work your ass off? Huh? I'm eating Chipotle, or not Chipotle. I'm eating Chili's. I'm eating Applebee's because I'm too friggin' busy to cook a dinner. Wow, that must be nice. Really? It must be nice? My house is a mess, okay? I haven't had a chance
And it's usually the people that say, it must be nice, that won't hear any of your hardships or anything, or say, hey, you know what? That's really too bad. I really feel for you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just drives me crazy. So if you want to really get me crazy, Pat will tell you that's stupid. Must be nice. Must be nice. Oh, I got a day off today. Must be nice. Really? A day off? I haven't had a day off in 3 months. Must be nice.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Treat me nice.
Oh.
So anyway, that's what gets me mad.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that get you mad, and people on Facebook is one of them. But one of the things that makes her happy is, I have a little Puerto Rican mother, and by little I mean little. She's like 5 foot tall, and she speaks English, and she's spoken English most of her life, but she has the heavy accent. And Jodi's always goes to her to learn Spanish, but she wants to be able to speak more next time she sees her. So one of the things that Jodi found.
I found this.
She found a podcast because she goes searching around for all these goofy podcasts. Believe it or not, she doesn't just listen to wrestling podcasts.
Oh, Jeff and I could listen to wrestling podcasts.
Wrestling
Don't get us talking
podcasts.
about that.
And wrestling podcast and Walking Dead podcast, which we'll be talking about Walking Dead in a little bit. But she found a podcast.
This is the best podcast
on
folks.
how to learn how to speak Spanish. Ooh. So we want to give you a little taste of this. So Claudio, can you go ahead and hit start for us here? You're going to love
Coffee
the
Break
music.
Spanish Lesson 1.
It's called Coffee Break Spanish.
How you do? We got something for you. A bit of Spanish you can try. It's not hard, now don't you cry. Más cerveza, por favor. Un cafecito. I want more. No haggis here. I hope that's fine. Just a bit of Espanol online. Espanol.
Okay, can you pause this a second? Okay.
Gracias, muchas
First of all, very catchy. They got their own jingle going on, and you're wondering why would they have haggis in the jingle? Well, because these are people who are from Spain and are Spanish.
Hola.
That live in Scotland and have a Scottish accent.
Hola.
So you're going to hear some weird stuff here in a couple seconds.
This
so
this podcast is the best. I mean, it's 11 minutes. It's anywhere between like 11 to like 20 minutes of this amazing podcast.
conversational Spanish.
It's
So
awesome, and I learned. Well, you'll hear what I
we'll play a
learned.
little bit more here.
Well, I never been to Spain.
Strong, just be resilient. One in Spanish is
Love the
dead.
jingle.
Just want to dance.
Just be prepared.
cheesy.
Mark and Carol will take you there.
Mark and Carol.
Mark and Carol. We know who the hosts are now.
Español.
Buenos días a todos. ¿Qué tal estamos?
Hola, you're
Hola,
listening to
hola.
Coffee Break Spanish.
The show which brings you language learning with your latte. Yo me llamo Mark. My name is Mark, and I'm the teacher on this course.
Awesome.
Y yo soy Cara. I'm Cara, and I'm learning with you and hundreds of thousands of other listeners around the
All right,
world.
pause it.
With Coffee Break Spanish, you'll pick up the language gradually by listening to our weekly lessons.
Okay, pause it a second.
In today,
Maybe it's just a regional thing, but when I hear somebody go from a Spanish accent to a Scottish accent, it sounds like Scotty from. I'm watching Star Trek. I'm listening to Scotty. I'm giving it all she's got, Captain.
But I love the
And
deep
then it
voice
goes,
that's got going on there.
perfect
You know.
Spanish. I just love that. Everybody say, "Oh, that's terrible." No, I love it. I think it's great, and I even hear words in Spanish that have a Scottish accent to it. So it's pretty hysterical.
The first time I heard it, I couldn't believe that I was listening to. I'm like, are these real Spanish people? I mean, we're the Puerto Ricans from New York representing.
yeah, at
Come
first
on.
we're like, are they doing the Scottish accent to like be silly, or? And then we found out that it's being recorded in Scotland.
But I do have to say, and Jeff, do you watch? Well, you work Saturday nights like me, but Saturday Night Live, they do like there's a little skit they used to do with the Spanish, and they'd play the Spanish song whenever it would
Yes.
come out. They would do the dance, and then when the music stops, they would ask the question, and then they'd play the song. That's what that Coffee Break Spanish song sounds like.
I remember from the Bugs Bunny cartoons. Mamma
Yeah.
quiero, mamma quiero.
All right, so here's what I learned how to say in Spanish. We're not going
Okay.
to go back to the tape, are we?
No.
Okay.
No, we're good.
Here's what I learned how to say in Spanish from Coffee Time Spanish, Volume 1, or Episode 1. Oh, by the way, there are 4 seasons of Coffee Break
4 seasons,
Spanish,
not episodes, seasons.
and each season is 40 shows. So there are 40. Imagine 40 podcasts in a season, and so I'm starting with season 1, and this is what I learned how to say: Hola, Pat.
Hola.
¿Qué tal?
Yeah, what am I supposed to say now?
Okay, so
Muy
I
bien.
said, sí,
Muy
sí,
bien.
sí, that's what you're supposed to say. So
¿Y
I
tú?
just, you do, muy fantástico. Gracias.
Yeah, all right, good. for
Muchas
you.
gracias.
Muchas
There you go.
gracias.
So I just asked Pat how he was. ¿Qué tal? That's it.
Which
So
some of the Spanish people are going, that's not right. It's actual Spanish from Spain. So, yeah, if you're from other parts of Latin America, you might be going, what?
So anyway, Coffee Break Spanish for anybody who has an iPod and wants to learn conversational Spanish. I love this show. I'm addicted to Coffee Break Spanish. So definitely shout out to Coffee Break Spanish.
So, Coffee Break Spanish, any wrestling podcast.
Any doesn't
And
care who you are.
any.
It could be Doink
It could
the
be
Clown.
Doink the Clown, yeah, interviewing King Kong Bundy, and of course anything Walking Dead she's listening to.
And speaking of Walking Dead, we do love The Walking Dead.
I love The Walking Dead.
and
Addicted to The Walking Dead.
Jeff, have you ever seen The Walking Dead?
I've seen a few episodes of The Walking Dead when it first started out, and then I just kind of lost track of it. So kind of, if you lose like a couple of episodes, you know that you kind of get behind, and then you have to catch up. So
That's what on demand is for. Yeah. So if
I
you
still
want
can't
to
get my VCR to work. So.
Oh,
my
VCR.
He
little
really
behind.
is. Are you sure you're
So
really
you're
not
really-
that real
So
Elvis?
you are living in
I'm
70s.
stuck in the 70s, man.
You're stuck in the
I'll tell you.
70s. Yeah, you're stuck in a white
He's got to get
jumpsuit
his
70s.
Patty's got to get his Snapple and his bell bottoms.
Yeah, that's right. We got to get you up to date.
You know,
He's still using those phones with the dial on them.
oh my God,
That's
Pat,
right. That's right.
How do I break this to him, Jeff? Sammy's dead.
Sammy.
Who's Garth Brooks? But Walking Dead. Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead.
It is
Season premiere,
yeah,
or
or
the mid-season
mid-season.
premiere is happening this Sunday, and we couldn't be more excited because they always leave you hanging. They do a great job at leaving you hanging at the end of the mid-season and the season finales. And of course, if any of you watched it, this is not a spoiler because they showed the last episode like 3 months ago, but we had an important character on the show
Pass
was
away.
killed, and it was shocking to everybody because it was a character that for most of the show's run has been there, but hasn't really been an integral part of the storyline. Has just kind of been there. And we're talking about Beth, who's the younger of the two daughters.
But they actually gave her when she hooked up
Yeah.
with Daryl Dixon. That's when everybody she didn't hook up like
She
hook
just
up.
started to become interesting as a character, and we started to get to know her as a character. And as soon as they get us excited about it, boom, they kill her.
Beth, I
Just
hear
a-
you calling.
and I don't know what to do. But yeah.
But
poor
this all
Beth.
leads up to the fascination with zombies, which I think started from the movies Dawn of the Dead.
Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead.
then there was
George
the-
Romero.
George Romero.
The sequel, which was Dawn of the Dead,
Yes.
and then
Then a
that all
million
progressed.
others, yeah.
I've seen so many license plates around Las Vegas here, and Zombie 1, Zombie 2,
Really?
and there's even like a bus, like or a truck or something that has zombies hanging off of it and everything.
Well,
it's just this fascination.
over on Spring Mountain, and I think it's Valley View or Arville, there is the Zombie Apocalypse store.
That's right. That's
Which
right.
is actually like a survivalist store where you can go buy, like camping stuff and ammunition and things to kill other things and stuff like that.
I think it's the fascination of the zombie of like, what would you do if this happened? Because I remember watching Dawn of the Dead in the movie theater, and they all went to the mall for the refuge and everything, and they had everything at their disposal, and they were trying to get away from the zombies, which actually goes back to the Omega Man with Charlton Heston. I don't know if you go back that far, but that was it was a great movie. I have it on DVD. Where the end of the world happened, and he was the last man, the Omega Man.
Yeah.
And he had to fight the zombies, which only came out at night.
Wow. I never knew that.
Great movie.
Wow.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Well, definitely a must visit place here in Las Vegas if you are a Walking Dead fan or Night of the Living Dead fan would be to go to the zombie apocalypse store.
Yeah.
That would be great. So, Pat,
We're going to have to do a trip down there.
yeah, we'll definitely have to go. I mean, what are your predictions for what do you think we're going to see,
Okay.
Pat, the second half of The Walking Dead season number 5?
Well, we've already seen the first 2 minutes of the first episode on the trailer. If you haven't seen it, it's online everywhere, and it's basically them burying Beth and talking about going to this place where that they talked about where there's supposed to be another camp with walls. So, but we know that somebody at this point has to die. So, who's going to be in the next 8 episodes?
8 episodes.
Who in the next 8 episodes is going to be the one that gets to die?
I'm going to predict Tyrese is going to go. Claudio's a
You say
Walking
it's
Dead
Tyrese.
fan too. Okay, I
Tyrese,
think
you
it's going to be
saying
Tyrese. I think that for a major character, I think definitely Father Gabriel because he's weak.
Well, you have 2 weak characters, but different weaknesses. You have Father Gabriel, who just won't do anything.
Well,
Who-
now he knows how to kill a zombie.
Now he knows how to kill him,
because
but he's a little scared too. And then we also have our character, which was the highlight of hope for the last season, that we now found out
Eugene.
is a fraud, Eugene. And Eugene also, I mean, he's kind of showed a little glimmers there, but really we have 2 characters that need the group to keep them alive.
We might be surprised. Eugene, we might be surprised with Eugene. I think when Eugene does go, if he does pass away, they kill him this season, I think he's going to sacrifice himself for the good of the group. I think he's going to do something very heroic to make up for the fact that he lied. He lied to the group. I mean, I know that if I was part of this, we talked about this, if I was part of this, like this group, Rick's group,
Yeah.
I mean, and I heard that there was a guy who had the cure and we have to go to Washington, D.C. to get this information to the powers that be. I would do everything humanly possible to get that guy there. Absolutely. And then when you find out that he was lying, like all hope is gone. Like,
yeah, because now
what do you
it's
do
like,
now? How do you
now
survive?
you're back at square one. No, you no longer have a goal other than surviving, which is what they're going to have to focus on now is just surviving, which is just like, okay, at least before they had a hope that at some point things would get back to normal, whether it took years or not. But they thought, well, okay, if we get him here, that's it's a move in the right direction. Now they're just looking at we're just surviving again.
Yeah. And Walking Dead, I mean, this is no joke. I mean, this show is smashing like records on television, ratings records. I'm looking here. It was watched by 14.8 million people.
It's the number one show, right?
It's the number one show on cable television next to Monday Night Raw. Of course.
Well, yeah, and it was it was getting better ratings than football on Sundays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the NFL, which obviously the Super Bowl just happened, we know that was a huge, Super Bowl's always big.
So the NFL's ratings were deflated? Is that
Yeah, they
what
were a
you're
little
saying?
deflated, yeah.
boom, boom.
Boom, boom, yeah, by half a pound. But,
But,
I mean, that really shows this is a cable TV. It's not a network show. And the fact that they can get that huge a rating is just absolutely amazing to me. And I think it's really changing. I think it's starting to worry. The networks are already worried because there are so many new ways for us to consume our television and our radio. Even if you think about it now, how many podcasts do you listen to like this one?
And Coffee Break Spanish.
Whenever you want to, on your phone, on your iPad, on your computer. You listen when you want, where you want, as opposed to I have to be on this channel at this time on this day, and if I'm not, I miss it, or hopefully I remember to record it.
Well, back in the day, the whole staying up with Pat and Jodi concept was us actually buying time. We bought time and drove down to Glendale from
California.
the beach,
Yeah.
so we can get an hour on talk radio in Los Angeles
That must have been nice.
And
at
once
midnight.
the-
At midnight.
Take
At
it easy. She can
midnight.
still reach you from over there. She's got a long reach. I just have a feeling she might take us both out in the process. So
Hola.
for both our sakes, careful. But
But you're right. Anybody with a microphone now can do a podcast. Anybody, and I shouldn't say anybody with a microphone. Anybody with a microphone and dedication, because this is a dedication. You're dedicated. I mean, this is week number 2. But you take a guy and you laugh. Well, you take Coffee Time Spanish, who's 4 seasons in. 40 episodes. You take a guy like Colt Cabana, shout out to Colt Cabana, who, does his podcast every single week, and he's been doing it for, I think, 4 years. And he hasn't missed a Thursday in 4 years.
and he travels all over the world wrestling. So
That's dedication.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. He literally did a show. I remember him once that he did a show in his hotel room.
Does them all the time.
Basically with the blanket over his head because the room was noisy. So he pulled a blanket over his head, had his microphone in front of him and his little recorder, and did a show in his hotel room in between events. So that truly is dedication. And he's basically by himself. He didn't have any guests. Well, he was introducing a previous interview that he'd done.
Yeah, because he does interviews
but
all over.
that is dedication, boy. Let me tell you.
So there are many options out there to, entertain you, and we're glad that you are listening to our show right now. So Pat, I wanted to tell you about this crazy person. So Jeff, you mentioned the Super Bowl was on Sunday. Did you happen to see Katy Perry's halftime show?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think of the Dancing Sharks?
They were
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah.
Well, one guy loved the Dancing Shark so
much,
much.
yeah.
He loved the dancing that he got a dancing shark tattoo
No
on his
way.
leg.
No way.
Yes, Google it. It's on there. Google it.
Google it. Yeah, already.
Yes,
the Super
already.
Bowl is only days old.
I'll have
and
to find
this
it.
guy
Oh my gosh.
actually went and he must have been still drunk from the Super Bowl and went out and found himself a tattoo artist and said, "You know what? I did a screen grab off of this part of remember the Super Bowl, the halftime show? See this shark? I want it on me."
Was there any tie-in with Jimmy Buffett and Margaritaville with the Sharks or anything?
I'm not sure what it was supposed to just. It kind of had that vibe to it,
Uh-huh.
but obviously he just picked out that point and thought the Sharks were just that cool, and that he needed to have it
There-
permanently put on his
there-
body.
Wow.
That's it.
So,
That's the
So-
tattoo.
Yeah,
Oh, Pat's
you
gonna
can't
hold
really
it up.
see
We're being
You can't really
filmed.
see it here, but hold on. There we go. You can look. Yeah,
Just
it's way
Google
too
it.
far. Just
It's on
Google it. It's
there.
here. Believe me, that little tiny thing in the middle of the screen. It's here. But yeah, and it's they shaved his leg, and it's the entire shark
So
with the
stupid.
costume with the feet and some red stuff behind him, like he's bleeding from the anus or something. I'm not sure what that's
Oh
supposed
my
to represent.
I mean, I want to get a tattoo, Pat. I really do. I want to get a tattoo
Of a shark like this?
No, I don't want to get a shark. And everybody knows I love Sharknado. Oh my gosh, best.
Sharknado 3.
Sharknado 3 coming at ya. I would not get a shark. I would want to get something that I'm proud of.
Did I ever show you my tattoo?
No.
Of Katy Perry?
Katy, he almost
You
had
got it
me
on
over
Monday,
there.
right?
He got it Monday. Hey.
Look at this.
I loved I loved Katy Perry's tattoo. It was pretty cool. She had it like on right here on her inner arm, like when you
on her
flex-
bicep, yeah.
on her bicep.
Bicep, yeah.
There you go, Andy. I did it again. Bicep.
Yeah.
There you go. Bicep. She had a tattoo, and I forgot what it said. It
It's
said
a-
"Mega Che Chalaka."
Yeah. It's something
Mega che
something
chalaka.
inspirational in Sanskrit.
Yeah. So I want to get one. I just don't know what I want it to say.
If you don't know what you want it to say, then
No,
you
I
don't wanna
do
get
know
one.
what I wanted to say. I wanted to say like I don't want it to say. I wanted to say like believe. I wanted to say crush it.
Okay.
Something.
And you know this is on here the rest of your life, right? So
Yes.
Okay. So
It's
think
like a tag.
Think about it. Yeah. Think about it a little bit longer.
How about I put my social security on it in Sanskrit, so that way when I get old, I'll be like, oh, that's my number.
Sanskrit?
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit. Yeah.
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit. I don't know what Sanskrit is. That must be something interesting though.
Skeet,
She
skeet,
comes,
skeet.
skeet. She comes up with some interesting stuff. That's for sure.
I did love seeing Lenny Kravitz wailing on the guitar, as usual.
Yeah.
Good-
Yeah,
good-
yeah.
So what do you think of the
He's a talented
performance?
guy.
I mean, performance-wise of the halftime show, you're a performer.
There's a lot of talk about it. It's so. I'm looking for the right word, but everybody's kind of like, did I like it? Did I not like it?
You're right.
It was so in your face that it was pure entertainment. I mean, no matter you could, there was not 1 second of pause where you weren't entertained. Put it that way. So whoever choreographed it, put together, it was phenomenal from the beginning of coming out on that. Was it a lion or a tiger? Or
I think it was
The
Lion.
Lion.
Bear?
Because you did roar.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
gonna
That's
hear me roar.
And then I says, well, what is that, an animatron kind of thing? And then I saw the guys in the black suits that were actually moving the
Cool.
the feet and stuff. Kind of reminded me of the Thanksgiving parade in New York, Macy's. But
Yeah, it had a little bit of a cartoony feel to it, I think. But production wise, I mean, I'm looking at it from the production side and what they had to do to make it happen. It's absolutely amazing that they pulled something like this off. This is not an easy. People can badmouth it all they want. This takes a lot of skill and a lot of talented people to pull something like that off.
yeah, for every second to be right on.
And
fan.
she had 4 costume changes in that short period of time, which was amazing.
And I loved her microphone changes. Did you guys notice every time she came out with a different
The
set?
microphone change.
The bling on the microphone was totally cool. I want a bling microphone. Whoever's listening out there, I want brown butter cookies from the Brown Butter
Brown
Cookie
butter cookies.
Company, or my sister-in-law Valerie to get off her ass and make those cookies for pennies.
I noticed she did all of her California, her popular songs, but she didn't do California Girls, did she?
She did. That
Oh,
was
she
the
did?
Sharks.
Oh, okay.
The
That was
Sharks
the one
came
with
out
the
to that. Yeah, I know. But
I missed
and
the part with the popsicle thing.
Yeah, and I want whoa, and I want a bling covered microphone. So brown butter cookies and a bling microphone.
That's all she got out of the Super Bowl. That's it.
But Katy Perry's a pop princess. That is what she is. So of course the halftime show was going to be very poppy, and then at the end, she leaves on the shooting star, which almost looks like that NBC, the star. The logo for NBC. They have that star. Believe, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, and of course, NBC is a sponsor, and she's on the shooting star. That was pretty cool.
I think she might have gotten that from Paul Stanley because he used to do that at the end and during the middle of the Kiss show, standing on the thing and going across the concert arena. So there was a little bit of something taken from there, but it was done differently, but
Yeah.
almost the same, but a little different.
I'd be nervous up there.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you?
Because all it would take is a slip of the boot and boom. The
Man.
first step's a doozy.
Yeah. Well, she's attached. She's latched into the apparatus. There's a lock on the back of her outfit that you don't see because of the side they film it from. But she's connected to that quite well. They don't want Katy Perry falling to her death during the halftime show. That would be much worse than the little slip that Janet Jackson did. That would be much more controversial if a star actually died.
That's right.
In a tragic accident in front of
millions of people
yeah.
on TV.
That would not be
cool.
good.
Remember, we saw Cher when
Safety first.
We saw Cher when we saw Cher, Pat, at Caesars. She came in You know, she was. Did you?
Yeah, on a
did you ever
similar-
get a chance to see Cher?
I have not. I always wanted to see.
Yeah, she was great. She came in. Still haven't found what I'm looking for. That's what she was. The U2 song.
Yeah.
It was in a full costume, and she comes right down from the ceiling. It was great.
And now Mariah Carey is signed on to Caesars, and I heard that Diana Ross is now going to be signed on at the Venetian for residency.
Ah, very good. Because wasn't she playing at Caesars right now? Or didn't she have a run? Or there's a run coming up with Diana Ross?
There's a run. I think she's going to be at the Venetian now, but I'm not sure if she had one at the Caesars.
And J Lo was here for New Year's Eve.
J-Lo was here for New Year's Eve.
So-
Tickets were astronomical.
Oh, I can only imagine
Oh.
everything.
Yeah, she charged. They charge you food, because they have to pay her too. So that's just part of that.
They don't
comes
do it
out
for
to-
free. They don't
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, you want to
J-Lo's
work
not-
at Caesar's Palace?
J-Lo's
Great,
not
that'll
saying-
look great on the resume. I'll do
Hey,
it for nothing.
I'll do it for spec. You know.
The fireworks were fabulous here in Las Vegas, as usual. This year, I think they did a great job. Everything was perfect. We had the threat of snow, as you know.
Yeah, and it turned out to be just a cool, clear night.
Yep.
And it
It
was
was
supposed to
ver-
be windy and snowing.
It was very windy earlier in the day, so there was a chance of the fireworks being canceled. And then there was also the threat of snow, which I thought would look pretty cool with the fireworks going off with the snow in the midst.
Well-
But, you know, everything canceled and the fireworks went off as scheduled.
So, do you work on New Year's Eve? Do you actually do the Elvis thing on New Year's Eve?
Sometimes it's hit or miss. Just when you think you got everything figured out of when the slow season is, the busy season is, boom, you get hit with something. So you can never really call it. Because as you know, we're the entertainment capital of the world, so we get people in from all over the world. And you just don't know people's schedule. When you think you got to figure it out, boom.
Well, and Vegas is a very typically a last minute sort of city where we get calls all the time. Where are you available?
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
What Saturday?
And it's like
This Saturday.
You talking about tomorrow?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Back in the heyday, I used to get calls like 2 a.m. or something. We want to get married. When? Now. And I'd go like, looking for a telephone booth like Superman, to change.
Absolutely. So how long? We might as well get to Jeff's part
Yeah.
right now because it's flowing so smoothly. So Jeff, tell me, how long have you been an Elvis impersonator in Las Vegas?
Is it Elvis impersonator or tribute artist? First of all,
Well,
or it could be either.
It could be either. I mean, I never really cared for one in particular over the other, but the Elvis tribute artist sounds a little more
Fancy.
fancy, but you are an artist in a certain regard because you're portraying something in an artistic form, and then an impersonator is just either or. It's both the same.
As long as you get the check clears, right? It's good. You can call me anything you want. So did you have,
Call me anything you want. Don't call me late for dinner.
That's right.
hey, baby, take that.
So how long ago did you start?
I started. I was about 10 years old when I first started, and that was in New York. And I moved here in Las Vegas in 1999, and have been doing it ever since. Obviously, when you relocate and stuff, it takes a while for you to get into the loop of things. And I was doing construction first when I first moved here, which was kind of cool because I had my hand in building parts of the city that I'll pass by, like what was it, the Suncoast. I seen that go from ground up, and had a hand in building that. The Aladdin, which is now the Planet Hollywood. They imploded the original and just built the other one right in its place, and then renamed it Planet Hollywood. Turnberry Towers, just a lot of that stuff. I'll drive around the city and see that.
That you touched that.
Yeah.
Why Elvis? What was your fascination? What jumped you? I mean, you were 10 years old, so is that the first time you saw Elvis?
No, I was a fan since I was about 7 years old, and I remember I was watching cartoons. I think it was Woody Woodpecker. I could be wrong. And all of a sudden, a commercial came on TV for an Elvis record, and I was just blown away. The music, the outfit, the look, everything about it. I was like, whoa, who is this guy? And nobody in my family really was a big Elvis fan, so I couldn't, it wasn't like I was influenced in that regard. But I had to find out who he was. So my aunt, Janet, was the only one who was a big Elvis fan. She actually saw him at Madison Square Garden. She was in the front row. She caught one of his scarves. And once she found out that I was, interested, right away she bought me my first Elvis record, not CD.
Right.
Yeah, it
'cause,
was actually vinyl back then.
And then I just started finding out more about him, and I would listen to it and learn all the words and try to, you look up to somebody in awe, and in that regard, you want to try to imitate them. it just kind of progressed as a fun thing to do, you know. And then never imagined later in life that I'd be fortunate enough to do it full time. I mean, you know, it wasn't even a thought. So I just, you know, used to do it for fun. And
How young were you when you did your very first Elvis? I want to say impersonation, but how?
Well, I was about, let's see, it was in 4th grade, and we had a speech teacher that came into the class, and she wanted us to do a project which was like lip syncing. And so everybody picked like their own person, and not naturally I picked Elvis. And I remember my friend, what was his name? Andrew Chicarico. He's like, "Can I put on your shades?" You know, so he come up and he did like the whole thing.
Nice.
You know, so it was what do you call
So you
it?
had the glasses.
So I had, well, actually, these glasses were so hard to find. I remember going into the mall in Pearl Vision. And I says, you couldn't go on Google back then or anything
Right.
like that. Or
It didn't
you know,
exist.
It didn't exist. You didn't have a picture. So I just tried to, I says, you know, they're like thick frames with circles on the side. And the guy looked at me like I had a hole in the head. And I says, yeah, but did you ever see Elvis wearing them? And he was like, yeah, come back, you know. So, but now you can go into any gift store and buy them for like $10, you know.
Wow.
But
Yeah, and you can even get the ones with the sideburns too. If you
That's
don't have
right,
the
that's
chops, you already got the chops, so you're okay. But if you don't have chops, you can have the ones with the chops. on.
sideburns and with that.
So you did your first Elvis.
The shades actually looked like the Grand Wizard. Remember him from
Oh
wrestling?
yeah, I know the Grand Wizard of wrestling.
They were black frames with the
nice.
skinny green thing. So that was like the coolest thing I could find. And I remember me and my brother Ron were into the wrestling back then with the Grand Wizard and Bruno Sammartino and all. Don't get me started on all that.
Wow.
So I got those glasses and I did that. And then when we were in gym playing dodgeball, our gym teacher, Mr. Daniello, used to put on the 45 records at the time, and you know you would play the dodgeball to that, and then every time Jailhouse Rock came on, all of my classmates looked over, "Come on, Jeff, do it," you know.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
I do like the whole thing, you know. And then in 6th grade was a turning point. My 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Lamangeli, every year she had a class, and she would host a show, and it was called A Night in Lost Vegas. Now, she had a yardstick hanging over the blackboard.
Uh-oh.
And every time that somebody misbehaved, they would get whacked with the yardstick. So everybody was petrified of her. So it was A Night in Las Vegas by Yardstick Productions. So everybody got to pick their, we had Chubby Checker, we had Barbra Streisand, we had Harry Belafonte, my friend Brian Gallagher, he did that. Tom Jones, all the stars that used to perform in Las Vegas, everybody did a great job with it. And then naturally, I had my hand up.
You were
I was
the
hoping
star.
nobody else picked Elvis. You know, I'm
Yeah.
like, please. Come
You
on.
were the star. You had to be the star of the show. So did you have a white jumpsuit back then? Like,
No, so this is the infamous story. My mom gets so tired of hearing this.
oh God.
She's like, "Oh no, not that story again." The jumpsuit story. But she made me my first jumpsuit. It was like a light powder blue, and she was never a seamstress, but she laid me down on a piece of fabric. And she traced out my body.
Wow.
Then she pinned it together, so now I'm standing up like this.
And how old were you?
How old was I? I was in sixth grade. So
Oh,
I had to
okay.
be like 11,
Okay.
10 or 11.
So your first custom suit at 11. That's
So,
nice.
so she laid you down and
Laid-
pinned it. And,
Pinned it and put all these studs on it and stuff. And then, of all ironics, it was so tight, you know. The PTA stepped in, almost kind of like Ed Sullivan when Elvis was on the Ed Sullivan show. He was so something that they from the waist up.
Provocative, yeah, because he
Provocative,
was a
thank
little,
you.
yes, very provocative. They didn't want a show that was too sexual.
That's right. So
Too sexual.
now the PTA stepped in this case, and they said my suit was too tight and revealing. So what I had to do in order to perform, otherwise I was not to perform, was to wear a guitar in front of the spot that was revealing.
Showing off your package at
So-
11 is what you're saying.
wow.
So yeah, we can be honest. I said package.
Wow.
So yeah, and then I did Blue Suede Shoes. That was the song I did,
Huh.
and that was kind of right after that. That following year, a few months later, Elvis died, and I was going into junior high school, And I went back to my school, Carmen Road, and I asked my principal, who is my friend on Facebook, Mr. Pasadlo.
Cool.
And he remembers that, and I thank him to this day for just giving me that opportunity, because he could have said no,
Right.
And I just said I wanted to honor, throwing a tribute. I was like, all of us remember that sad day when Elvis passed, all of us that were, old enough to remember, remember what we were doing at that time when we heard the news. And being an Elvis fan, I just like wept the whole night. And your immediate reaction is you want to do something. You want to go down and pay your respects to Graceland. They showed it on the news. Everybody was flocking down there, and also naturally I was too young to do that. And I came up with the idea. I says, well, let me try to go back to my school and put on a tribute show. So I asked my friend Brian Gallagher to be on the drums, who did the night in Las Vegas, and my friend Kevin O'Friel to be on the guitar, who also played Chubby Checker. And Brian was Harry Belafonte.
Nice.
I forget what song he did, but he was great.
In the day,
Yeah.
daylight coming, I want to go home.
I could see it in my mind, and back then we didn't have video naturally, so.
I would have loved to see this.
8mm,
Wow. Do you have the tapes? Are there tapes somewhere?
Nobody took. I did. Kevin O'Friel's mom had a 8mm camera when I did the tribute show, and she did like a quick thing, but I lost contact with him, and I was wondering if he still had it after all these years. But
so if you're out there, we need that film.
Kevin,
Kevin,
you're listening. Give us the film.
We
want
have
to
to
see
hashtag
Jeff,
him.
young Jeff.
Look for that film and
don't be cruel, man. Come on, give me
the film.
So did you always?
Somebody took an audio tape of it though,
Oh,
and
okay.
the girls screaming of it. It's to this day. It just gives me chills, and that kind of was what gave me the bug. I did 6 songs. Now, a year later, I grew like 6 inches. So my mom again had to go to the sewing board, and what she did was she inserted this piece of dark blue velvet material to widen the suit, and so it would fit me this time. So I did that, and we rehearsed day and night. And my friends were so cool about it. They were like, I was always a perfectionist, so I wanted to get it right, and we did 6 songs, and then we did the last song was a song called "The King Is Gone" by Ronnie McDowell, not Roddy McDowell, but Ronnie McDowell, and he was an Elvis impersonator too, a tribute artist. And he sounded just like him, and he did a dedication. So I did that for the last song. And then I was throwing out scarves and everything. And then my mom was in the Sweet Adelines in the New York chapter. So she had like this big ring, costume ring that she lent me for it. She's like, you got to have this because the light hits it really great and stuff. So, but just don't let anything happen to it. So as I'm throwing out the scarves, I remember during the one song.
Oh, no.
I think it was Hound Dog. And the ring was loose, and it just came flying out and went to the audience. Hit the ground and just smashed to pieces. And I was like, I could see it in like slow motion, like, whoa,
Oh, man.
So at the end of the song, you could hear it on the audio tape. I said, did anybody see my ring out there? And then you hear the girls like, yeah, here it is. And one girl goes, go ahead, go up there, give it to him. She's like, I'm not going up there. These were all like 5th grade, 6th grade classes that came down to see the tribute show. And so finally I went down, I got it, and I looked at it. I was just like heartbroken. I was like, all right. I went into the other song and all. But other than that, like in between songs, it was like a genuine, you hear everybody like screaming and just getting into it, So that gave me the bug from there on. It was like, wow, this is really cool.
Did you do Elvis shows? Did you do Elvis shows when you were living in New York?
After that, I just kind of remained a fan. Actually, I did see him live at the Nassau Coliseum. It was one of my, naturally.
So you saw him live when you were a little kid then?
10 years old, 1975.
But did you do Elvis? Like, were you booked? Did you do gigs? Did you do gigs in New York as Elvis?
Yeah.
When you were
eventually,
living there?
Eventually, yeah.
And it wasn't until you were in your 20s, or?
Right. Because I never, like I said, I just used to do it for fun, and then I got caught up in the whole Kiss thing after he died, and
yeah, that's true. You do.
It was like that whole.
That's true, because you also do Kiss as well, right?
Yeah, I used to do that for Halloween, Gene Simmons, and
you still do it here too in Vegas.
Sometimes, well, actually, I developed a character, or I created a character called El Kiss, and I combined the two, iconic characters, Elvis and Kiss, and I came up with the makeup, created the makeup for the white and then the black in crowns, like so, 2 black crowns.
Okay, I've
And
seen
I
that.
pitched the idea when they opened the Kiss Monster Mini Golf. They have the Hotter Than Hell wedding chapel in there.
Yep.
So I says, well, if I do El Kiss, now I'm doing weddings as the Elvis character, so I could, but they wound up getting Mini Gene.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah.
know. Yeah, we
Yeah,
know.
we know.
Yeah, we know the guy.
Yep.
Brian Thomas, right? Yeah.
So I got caught up in that, and then I always wanted to sing, obviously like Elvis. So my oldest brother, he told me, if you ever want to sound like somebody, you got to develop your own voice first. So I went into chorus in high school, and then it was found out that I had an operatic voice, so which kind of blew me away in its own right. And then I just started getting into these contests like NISMA, New York, solo competitions and stuff like that. And I started singing opera, and I was like, well, this is kind of weird, because nobody else in my family was into the classical music, and I wasn't even into it myself. And then the more I stayed into it, the more I developed an appreciation for it. And then I started learning to sing in all different languages, and French and German and Italian, and, this and that. And then that kind of went towards that. And I remember my voice teacher, she's like, give me 5 years to study with me, and I'll have you on the stage in a Metropolitan Opera House. She goes, forget about the Elvis.
Wow.
I'm like, no, don't say that. That's sacrilege. How could you say don't forget about Elvis? She's like, right here, she goes, you have opera, which is right up here. Then you have Broadway. Then you have Elvis. And then you have everything else. She goes, why not shoot for the top with the opera and stuff? So I did it, but it was so much as I loved it, it was very rigid. I mean, there was so much you had to think about, and you had to stay there and think about your breath control and your voice. Opera classical musicians know what I'm talking about when they, there's so much going on when you're up there singing to think about. And then I was always used to just moving with the music just from.
And that's your
the
Elvis. Yeah, that's the Elvis thing.
It became a natural thing.
So being an Elvis I'm going to say it, impersonator. Being an Elvis impersonator, did you score a lot of chicks? I mean, I'm getting right to the meat. I want to know,
We wanna
did you
know.
score a lot of chicks?
Did it help you with the ladies?
Did it help you with the ladies?
The nitty gritty.
I want to know the dirt, Jeff. Come
All
on.
the dirt.
How many hotel room keys did you get slipped?
Yeah, really.
I'm going to reveal all that in my upcoming book. Which is gonna,
But did you, when you were in New York, did you look like Elvis when you were in New York, or did you look like Jeff? Or did you try to?
I was always Jeff. I still am. I was when I put the suit on. That's when I became Elvis. It was like I would never kind of combine the two, and I'd always try to make a point of, as an Elvis fan, I would go before I became performing. I would go see other impersonators just to recapture that thing, and I think that's what everybody does, is because he left at such an early age at 42 that people were just in shock because they wanted more from him. So I think when they go see an impersonator, they just want to relive and recapture that whole experience that he still would, So I got caught up in that as well, and I went to see, Rick Saucedo on off-Broadway show.
Nice.
And Great Adventure. There was a guy, I forget what his name was, but we'd always go see. There was a lot of good ones.
What was the guy? Did you ever know Alan? This Alan dude? Remember Alan? Alan. I went to Hawaii when I was in high school. I was lucky enough to go on a Hawaiian trip, and there was this Elvis impersonator, Alan. That's all I knew. Alan, young guy, good looking, did Elvis. Me and my friends, and remember, we're all high school, so we're 17 and 16. We snuck into his show every night, and he totally used the Elvis gimmick to pick up the chicks. 16 and 17-year-old chicks. Just saying.
So the statute of limitations is up.
What
on that,
happens
right?
in Hawaii stays in Hawaii.
We're gonna get some.
They gave Don Ho a run for his money.
Oh my! Don't even go. Don't even ask me about my Don Ho story. We'll save that for episode 3.
Yeah.
I never used that though. I know some guys might have done that, but I was very much against that. Actually, I wanted to. I didn't, like I said, I don't want to combine the two. I wanted to have my life as Jeff, and whatever transpired, intimacy was just that way. Very personal and very private, and then with the Elvis character, I was there to sing and perform. I wasn't there to, schmooze with picking up girls, or I didn't want to use that to do that. I had another mission, put it that way.
Got it.
My mission was to offer a genuine, sincere tribute, because I got tired of seeing like this comedic thing about Elvis and, the heavy set thing and just going in that direction. There was so much more to the guy that I wanted to portray in a sincere and genuine tribute. And I think what sealed it up for me was I went into the medical field, and I kind of was like, all right, enough of the dream here. I got to put my feet on the ground and get serious about life here. And I went into the medical field, and I was, doing that. And then I went on vacation down in Jamaica, and I saw a Jamaican Elvis, and he was up there.
Jamaican Elvis?
That's
And
great.
he's out there like, you ain't nothing but a hound dog, man.
Oh, my God.
But I says, it had such an impact on me because I says, this guy, he's up there, he's having fun, he's making money, and he's entertaining people. And so why don't I give it a shot,
Awesome.
Because I guess inside myself I had like a joke, like I didn't take it serious, like I could really do that,
And how many years now have you been doing this in?
It's
In Vegas.
In Vegas, I moved here in '99, and I guess
That's
after
great.
about 6 months, I started, getting into the.
So I met you early in your Elvis
It
career.
had to be like 2001, 2002,
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah. Pat, you have a question for him, don't you?
Why don't you ask this one?
Why am I always the one to ask? Okay, so Jeff, I've worked with you a lot, and I see people's reaction to when you show up at a party. I want you to share with us, what was the wildest thing that a fan has ever, what's your wildest experience with a fan? I mean, you could keep it, I think, what have you done? I mean, what have people asked you
What
to
have they
do?
done to you?
What have they done to you that you
Well,
want to share?
Instead of saying what is the wildest thing that someone's done to me, I'll say perhaps what was the wildest event that I had.
Okay.
Or my memory, when you said that, what sticks out in my mind most was this bizarre request for an event. And what it was a funeral. I mean, it was kind of bizarre enough when I first moved here, and it was the Elvis wedding thing was such a big thing. It was like, wow, it's very cool, obviously, but I just, didn't know how it came to be.
So if they're a fan till they die, and they.
So what did you have to do?
Oh, so then I got a call, and it says, we want you to do a funeral service. And I says, really? And I thought it was a joke, And I said, no, we're serious. I says, well, do you want me to wear a suit and tie out of respect? No, we want the jumpsuit. I says, all right, well,
Wow.
I'll wear the black jumpsuit out of respect.
Claudio, isn't this crazy?
Wow.
Claudio's shaking his head. Oh my God.
Only in
Only in
Vegas.
Vegas.
So was it like your Elvis vows?
So-
Steve lived a great life.
Yeah.
he was.
And at the end, he just wanted to say, thank you very much.
What did you make sure you didn't step on his blue suede shoes? Steve didn't want anybody to be cruel, baby. But his jailhouse rocked.
Steve was found in Heartbreak Hotel.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. So is that what you kind of did?
He slipped on a blue suede shoe.
Oh my gosh.
So
And he's going to be buried with his teddy bear.
film at 11.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, well, then they had song requests too, and I said they wanted the spiritual gospel songs that Elvis sang. One was "Amazing Grace." The other one I had to research on because he never recorded, but it was in a documentary about "I'll Fly Away, Sweet Glory." I'll Fly Away was the name.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
And like I said, he never recorded, and this was before YouTube and Google and everything. So I had to,
Really look. Yeah, you had to really.
And so I did it, and I wore the black jumpsuit out of respect. And then I got there, and it was just a very, very bizarre feeling.
Was it a young man who passed away?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. Was it an open casket?
It was actually an urn.
Oh, man. Oh, this story gets better and better. Holy cow!
Ashes to ashes and dust to dust.
Okay.
No, but that's what I was wondering. Was it going to be a closed casket? Was it going to be open casket? And
Would've been funny.
Is this going to be?
It would've
And then
been-
I walk in, and it was just like this urn just sitting there.
Was his picture there?
I think so, but I was like so. I think I was
All
pretty
shook
nervous.
up.
I was
You were all shook up. All right. All right, Jeff.
So, but the best is afterwards. I go up to the person who set it
Uh-oh.
up, and I says, you could hear him from New York. Hey, use guys,
Use guys.
forget about it.
That's Philly too. Philly does that.
So I
Pluralize.
said, can I ask, was the deceased a big Elvis fan? And he goes, nah, we just figured it's Vegas.
Wow. boom, boom, boom.
Just the way he said it. Just
I never expected that kind of an ending to that
It's just
story.
nonchalant.
Yeah.
we just
Why
figured
don't we
it's
have
Vegas.
Vegas?
man.
Vegas. Why don't we have Elvis?
Let's give Grandma a funeral and bring Elvis and a showgirl.
So that was the
Wow.
weirdest.
Wow, that is totally
Okay,
weird.
so Jeff, we're going to test Jody's going to test your Elvis knowledge. We have some Elvis trivia for you here.
Stump the Elvis.
So let's see if we can stump
called
Elvis.
Stump the Elvis
Stump the
before we-
Elvis.
End the show. Okay, what item was Elvis said to collect from every city he performed in? Jeff's thinking.
Dun, 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 dun.
What was it? I know you got to know this one.
I don't know. What was it? Jewelry? A ring?
Police badge.
Police badge.
Yes. On occasion, Elvis would dress in a police uniform and patrol Memphis freeways.
That's right. He's got an honorary badge from every state of the country, and he would go in his spare time and pull over people in Memphis.
That's
area.
what he.
And he'd be like, license and registration, please.
Well, that would have to be weird. See, now I got that answer completely wrong. When you asked me that earlier, I thought for sure, knowing his reputation, that every town he went into, he collected like a woman. It would be like,
That's what you did say.
it would be a young lady in every town, but no,
No.
it wasn't anything. Well,
Well,
I
you
probably
got-
did that too.
You
so-
got me on that one.
All right, here's one.
Uh-huh.
I know I don't.
That was a good
I
one.
know
I
you're
didn't know
gonna
it.
you're gonna get this one. Take 2 slices of white bread, 3 with I'm sorry. Take. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. I'm
Read
so
much?
excited. No, take 2 slices of white bread. Cover with 3 tablespoons of smooth peanut butter. Top with mystery ingredient. Press together and fry in 3 tablespoons of hot margarine. What is the mystery ingredient that completes Elvis's favorite dish?
Well, I'm going to say that's either a trick question or false because there was no other mystery ingredient, but I'll say bacon.
Banana.
Oh, banana.
Banana. Although I do have to give you props.
Didn't you say peanut butter banana? Oh,
No, I said peanut butter, but I will give you props because bacon was in there.
Bacon was one of them,
Bacon was
yes.
in there, so yes.
Peanut butter, bacon, and banana.
I actually did that at the Roxy in New York City. Remember the Roxy?
Yeah.
And they had, before they closed, they had a Christmas party for their employees. Best shindig I've ever been to. They spared no expense. They hired personal photographers with Polaroid cameras to follow every impersonator you could imagine around the Roxy. And these people that worked there were treated like royalty. It was just the greatest company party I've been to.
Wow.
So they had me stationed at the front door with a big table, big jars of peanut butter, and big jars and all bananas with a sandwich maker. And they had me making the peanut butter and banana sandwiches. So these people had everything. They had lobster, they had shrimp, they had caviar, you name it. No matter what, that didn't fail. Everybody came back for a peanut butter and banana sandwich. So
That is so cool.
yours truly. By the end
Wow.
of the night, we ran out of peanut butter and bananas.
That's
Wow.
great.
So, you know,
At
we're
the
gonna
Roxy.
have to make those for ourselves and eat those with some cholesterol pills or something.
Absolutely.
And it has to be fried up like a grilled cheese so that the peanut butter and the bananas melt in the same consistency.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I'm looking at the clock, Pat, so I know we don't have much time. Oh, you want me to give him another one? Okay.
Another one. Hit him with another one.
All right, I'm going to hit you with another one. After a redecoration program, Elvis insisted on black silk bed linen. Why did he subsequently change his mind?
Ooh.
He had black satin sheets.
She looked for the most obscure question.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes,
Because come on, folks. You know he's going to know. When did Elvis die? How many kids did he have? Who was he married to? We know that. Duh. Let's see how. You know me. I
We
want
want to know what you know about his bed sheets.
Yeah. What do you know about the bed sheets?
So he changed his mind from black, I'll say, to purple?
well,
No,
no.
it's from-
Why did he get?
Changed from silk back to cotton.
Yeah.
Oh, silk back to cotton.
Why did he do it?
Because he didn't want to go slip sliding away.
Exactly. You hit ding, 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 ding. You got
it right.
He fell out of bed. Apparently, the silk was too slippery.
It was. I had the same problem. I did.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he fell out of bed and hit his head.
That's right. I always wanted silk sheets, and then I got them, and I was like, whoa.
Whoa. No, Pat, we never had silk sheets.
No. We'd go sliding off. There would be concussions involved.
Chingo would be flying. The dogs would be flying all over the place.
Not work well.
Here's something that I didn't know about Elvis, and this was interesting. What was Elvis's natural hair color?
It was actually like a dirty blonde.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he dyed it black apparently because to be like a movie star, like
Roy
Clark
Orbison.
Gable.
Well, they said Roy Orbison.
Well,
he was
Clark
influenced
Gable
by.
was like the movie star, and then also to match his mom's hair.
Uh-huh. And the last person, after his death, the last hand to touch his body was that of hairdresser Larry Geller, who blackened up his hair with a mascara wand. He blackened up Elvis's hair in the casket with mascara wand.
Oh, really?
Yep, that's what they said.
He wanted to touch it up. I guess he needed a touch up before they closed the casket.
Did you know that his mansion Graceland is the second most visited house in America?
It's the second most popular house in America next to the White House.
Absolutely.
There you
How
go.
many times have you been there?
I've been there twice.
I've been there once.
I was there when it
0.
first opened to the public in 1982 when they had the World's Fair at Knoxville.
Coolest thing.
Yeah.
It's the coolest place
Ah,
ever,
goosebumps.
isn't it? Pat and I want to do renew my wedding vows at Graceland.
That would be
You want to
awesome.
come with us?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be awesome. We'll have a good time. All right. Well, Pat, we gotta.
It is time to wrap up the show.
We're gonna
And
bring Jeff back again.
We're going to bring him back
so
again, but we
we'll
want to
get
thank
more-
you for hanging out with us and staying up with Pat and Jodi. And although it is the internet, you could be listening to this at 6 in the morning. You're
And-
still staying up with us.
And Jeff, how do people find you? Because I want people to know all about you. You got a website. Let's plug
Website
it.
is www.elvisofvegas.com. That's ELVISOFVEGAS. Elvisofvegas.com.
Do you tweet or anything? You're on Facebook too, right? They can find you on Facebook.
On
Do you tweet?
Facebook, my Elvis page is Elvis Vegas Jeff Stanulus. And like you said, Pat, I have my own personal Facebook page and then my Elvis character.
But you don't get the personal one, so
Yeah,
forget
you
about
gotta
it.
get the
Ain't
Elvis
happening.
one.
Sorry, you get the Elvis one. You don't get the personal one.
ElvisofVegas.com.
Go to elvisofvegas.com and you'll be able to find links to everything.
And
very
if you
much.
want to find me, I'm Jodi Harris on Twitter. Jodi Harris. HARRIS. Jodi Harris on Twitter.
And
CEO of Fun?
she is the CEO of Fun, and we do need to get her a CEO of Fun Twitter page, just so you have your own, just for yourself.
Oh, that's a Jodi Harris page. Is just fine. I don't care. It's the Facebook thing that really creeps me out with these people that are fake and phony.
Well, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with us and staying up with Pat and Jodi. Once
Hola.
again, we'll be coming back to you next week from the palatial penthouse studios of Sight and Sound Events here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And again, Jeff, thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll
you,
be
Pat.
back with you next week.
Adios.
Bye.
Good night. Don't be cruel.
Thank you very much.